Alright, confession time. I do not like Jyuouki, or Altered Beast if you prefer. I do not like it in the arcade. I do not like it on the Genesis or Mega Drive. I do not like it on the PC Engine. I do not like it on the Master System. I do not like it in a box. I do not like it with a fox. And shockingly, I do not like it on the Famicom. I know that this game has a sizable fan base, but I have always disliked it. The Japanese title could be translated as Tale of the Beast King, and it holds a special place on the Famicom. It is the final Sega game to be released on the system. Sega licensed their games to a few publishers, but the big push to get those games out on the Famicom seems to have been in 1989. This port of Sega's arcade game is extra late. That arcade game was a big hit, which is why Sega had it ported everywhere. The story of the game is that there was an ancient race of beast people, and the gods feared them, so they did a genocide. But now Athena's been abducted by an evil spirit, so Zeus revives one of them to go rescue her. For the Famicom version, the controls are B to kick, A to punch, and up to jump. You can double jump by hitting up again at the top of your jump, and several stages require that you use this extra high jump in order to clear them. The screen automatically scrolls to the right, and you have to beat up the enemies as they come. Occasionally, a white two-headed bull will emerge, and when you defeat these, an orb pops out. These orbs are the only power-up in the game. Collecting them makes you a little bit stronger, and there are 3 stages to this. The first 2 make your punches and kicks stronger, and with the 3rd orb that you collect, you turn into a beast form. The beast form generally has 2 kinds of attacks, one ranged shot and one where you throw your body around. Some of the beast forms can fly, letting you freely move around the screen. These beast transformations reveal one of the big differences in the Famicom version. All other versions of Jyuouki have 5 stages. The Famicom version has 8, which means that it has 3 unique transformations. On the first stage, you turn into a wolf that can throw fireballs and do a flaming jump kick. The second stage is a were-lion that curls into a ball or can shoot out a beam. This is actually the same as the were-bear transformation. Stage 3 has you turn into a dragon that can generate a damaging field around it or shoot a beam. And this one gets reused as the phoenix transformation. Stage 4 is the were-bear transformation, and Stage 5 has you turn into a shark. The shark can spit an attack or whip things with its tail. Stage 6 has you turn into a were-tiger, and it can shoot up into the air as well as throw a fireball that moves in a wave pattern. Stage 7 is the phoenix transformation, and Stage 8 repeats the werewolf from Stage 1. You have to be in animal form when you reach the end of the stage. If you haven't collected the 3 orbs that are necessary by that point, then you just loop through the entire stage again. While your life bar has 3 segments, you can take more than 3 hits, usually. There's a lot of variability in how hard enemies hit, and when you get deep into the game, you'll be taking a ton of damage when they strike you. But early on, with weaker enemies, you could take several hits before you lose one of those bars. The bosses at the end of the stages are probably the best thing in this version of the game. There's a few new bosses, like this octopus that attacks you. And while the familiar enemies don't shoot nearly as many projectiles as they do in the other versions, they're all here and mostly intact. Well, except for the final boss, who's been kind of simplified. One positive thing is that when you defeat a boss, your life bar gets refilled. You need it because you only have 3 lives and 3 continues with which to beat the game. And when you continue, you go back to the start of the level. And as easy as the game feels starting out, it takes a real turn for the nasty around the halfway point. Stage 4 is one of the few levels with pits that you can fall into, and where you can fall into a pit doesn't really match what's visible on the screen. And then after that, getting hit will take away 1 or 2 bars of health, and there will be lots of enemies that are really hard to hit without getting struck yourself. A problem I have with this port of Jyuouki is that the level design is a real snore. On some stages you can jump onto things that appear to be background objects, but 90% of the time you're just on that auto-scroller walking straight to the right on flat ground. If you're having trouble, there are a few cheat codes that can help you. Hold down on the D-pad and hit reset, and it puts the game into free play mode. It's not really free play, you just have 255 credits with which to beat the game. And before you hit start, every time you hit select on the title screen, you'll skip a stage. I may not care for the original Jyuouki, but even I can tell that this is a weak port. They tried to patch it up a bit by adding some extra stages, but the limitations of the Famicom are really on display here, and Asmik is not a company with a strong enough technical background to really stretch things. The only reason that anyone would even give this port a look is for those extra transformations, and it really is not worth it.